For this Bob Lazar talk, I thought it'd be correct to put on these glasses because whenever I talk about Bob Lazar, people always think that it's some conspiratorial nonsense. That's what we think, right? When it comes to Bob Lazar has talked about things that have now came into fruition, and everyone is asking, especially since he just recently went back on to Joe Rogan in order to help promote his new documentary called S4, The Bob Lazar Story. People have been wondering, is what he said back then true? And here is my take on whether or not it's true, because I know that I will just begin to tell you that I am slightly biased. I am slightly biased, and I'm biased because I want it to be true. I want it to be true. I really want it to be true because it's exciting, right? We have UFOs and we have the government hiding something in a secret compartmentalized base that is hidden, and it is inside of a mountain in S4 in Area 51, and it sounds exciting and exhilarating, and it just sounds thrilling, and it's like, what if? Now, I have to say that we've seen a lot of crazy shit on the news lately, and we've seen the exact flying saucers that Bob had described in the 80s and 90s on legit, verifiable footage that was directly from the US government. It was from our Navy, in fact. And we're like, wow, that's really strange. That is quite a coincidence, now is it? It's hard for me to not believe Bob because I want to believe him. I really, really want to believe him. But it's very difficult for me because I'm very skeptic and I'm very scientifically minded. So I am weighing the stuff I've seen versus the things that he has mentioned many, many years ago. And has his story remained consistent? It's remained exceptionally consistent, almost too consistent. Now, I used to think if you tell the same story exactly how you've told it for this amount of time, then inevitably it has to be true. But as of recent, if I'm being totally honest with you guys, and this breaks my heart, I've realized something that most of the time when people are bringing to us or to the limelight conspiracy theories, they're absolute morons. When has there ever been someone that was both very, very knowledgeable about what they were attempting to pull over our eyes and lie to us about, mixed with someone that is very, very competent and very intelligent? We haven't had that. We have people that say the UFOs picked me up and they mutilated my cattle and then they touched my genitalia and all this random shit, right? We've never had someone that is actually intelligent, a legitimate scientist that had went and studied at university and then graduated and went on to have a very prosperous career in a scientific endeavor. Never had that sort of conspiracy guy. And so I think that's what brings Bob Lazar so much initial validation. Although I must say that causation is not correlation, and just because someone did this doesn't mean that this is true. And I know that I'm going to break a lot of your hearts, including myself. And do I believe him? I think I do. I think I do believe him. But even though I remain slightly skeptical, I just wanted to come out with a video that may poke a hole in some inconsistencies in order to keep a level head when thinking about whether or not what Bob Lazar said about him having access and working on an alien spacecraft that was from an archaeological dig back in the 80s. I just, that's a lot to put on someone. And I want to come at this with a healthy amount of skepticism that will hopefully, if it's true, just further reinforce the fact that he is telling the truth. But if it's false, then it may bring limelight to this situation that has caused such a frenzy once again within the online, I guess, UFO believers worlds, the people that are, and it's went mainstream. It's went much further than just the people with the tinfoil hats. And speaking of tinfoil hats, hold on here, because I got something for you. I got something for you. While we're talking about Bob Lazar, might as well go all out, right? If we're going to do it, then do it right. So hold on. Un momento, por favor. Now we're ready to talk about Bob Lazar. So, Bob Lazar, this is so uncomfortable. You know what? I feel very, very intelligent now. I feel almost as if the government isn't scanning my brain consistently with 5G. Just kidding. Some people say that shit. I don't know. I don't know why I said that. I want you guys to take me seriously, hopefully. Hopefully you guys take me seriously, although I'm wearing this ridiculous get-up when I attempt to evaluate Bob Lazar, because I think that it is necessary for us to begin really, really not just brushing him off, but analyzing exactly what it is that he said and the things that have remained consistent. Now, is it possible that Bob Lazar was like the janitor or something at S4? It's very, I would hate to say likely, but it's probable. It's definitely an option. Now, was he a janitor that just knew how science worked to where he could create this elaborate story and it would sound convincing enough for people to believe him? Yeah. But in all honesty, guys, I do believe him. So let me put this away and let me tell you why. Let me tell you guys why. Let me take these off. You guys know that I am known for the sunglasses. So let me take these off. And I'll put these on in order to look more professional when I tell you this. Put these away, although these are freaking awesome. But you know what? They just weren't right. They just didn't feel right. I think that Bob Lazar is telling the absolute truth. I don't think he's lying. I don't think that he is necessarily the best at telling a story, but that's because he isn't someone that just orchestrates stories. You know, he's taken no money from this. He hasn't taken a single dollar. And do I think that he believes what he saw? Yeah. The reality of the situation is that this craft was either from an archaeological dig from either an alien civilization or something from a much earlier time in human history that has been simply written over because we haven't found enough archaeological evidence in order to spark interest in even asking the question. Something like Graham Hancock talking about the theories in which things mess with the earth and it completely destroys the civilization as we know it. You know that in just 10,000 years, nothing would exist that would give any evidence to anything in the future that would search for any intelligent life. Nothing would exist from our time right now that would indicate to them, whoever they may be, that are searching for some sort of civilization or intelligent civilization, nothing would exist that would give them that indication. From what we have right now, they wouldn't be able to find iPhones, they wouldn't be able to find Rolexes, they wouldn't find transistors, they wouldn't find any fighter jets, they wouldn't find any computers, they wouldn't have any satellites, they wouldn't be able to detect any sort of waves like radio waves or anything. It would all be gone. It would all be gone. It would have never existed to begin with, basically. And so I do think there is a strong possibility that that could have happened. You know, we think that as humans currently, we are the end-all be-all, and we're not. We think we're so smart because we have our technology and we can broadcast ourselves to someone across the world instantaneously. But that doesn't define intelligence, and furthermore, that's what we decide to fixate upon as a society. And I say as a society because due to capitalism, it's whatever we enjoy, whatever we'll buy. That's what the people fixate on when they're creating this new technology or innovating technology within labs. It's all for profit. That or it's for war. But for our sake, we'll just say profit. It's very likely that other civilizations, millions of years ago, that Our ancient ancestors, they found something that we have not found. Or maybe we have found it and we just don't want it to get out because it's too powerful and it will disrupt current industry and economics of not only America, but of the world. Maybe that's the case. Or maybe it's the case, and if that was the case, then what Bob Lazar said is absolutely likely. It's very likely that we just had no idea how this thing worked, and we created it, and we found it in an archaeological dig, and there's the spaceship, and we're like, what the fuck is this? We've figured out how to get it to work, but we can't replicate any one of the products that make this thing be able to take flight or do any of the things that he said. And he said some pretty crazy things. He said that it bends gravity around it. He didn't say that it was like a propulsion system, like a jet or like a rocket engine. No, it would make even what Elon Musk is doing currently. And for the record, I helped work on the Artemis project that was just launched. I helped work on that personally. And so I have a little bit of skin in the game here when I speak about this. I know that I say stupid things and look like an absolute moron online with my alien glasses and my tinfoil hat. But the truth is that I'm pretty reputable and pretty credible. And I know a lot more than what I lead you to believe. So with that being said, I know that what the technology that he was speaking about would make that look like a joke. It would look like child's play. But it doesn't mean that it didn't exist. If we dropped off, for instance, maybe a Harley Davidson motorcycle, we dropped that off into a tribe in Africa and we landed our planes, they would think that God brought them a gift. And like Bob Lazar said, they might get proficient at running it and they would be able to drive it and they would ride around Africa till they ran out of gas, inevitably, but regardless, but they wouldn't be able to recreate it. They wouldn't know how it worked. They would be totally lost. They would just be using this thing. And that's what he proposed this craft was and how exactly it got into our hands. And for the record, there was multiple of these crafts and they were all different. He worked on the sport model. And I believe him. Now, it could be that. It could be that it came from another alien civilization, but then how do we get it? You don't just drop it off. You don't, like for us, for instance, you don't just leave your car somewhere. You know, sorry. Like, how do you get back? How do you get home if you leave it somewhere? And if you left it somewhere, then it obviously wasn't functioning properly. And then we would have no way to make it function properly. It's like if you left your Mercedes with the keys in it and you just like it broke down and you left it at a kindergartner playground full of kindergartners. The kindergartners wouldn't be able to fix it. Even the smartest of them wouldn't be able to fix it and make it run properly. But this thing was running properly, according to him. So that's one theory, and I believe him. Or the other theory that I think is even more likely and even more, I would hate to say more fascinating because it's really not, maybe on a psychological level. But what if we created this? We created this and we brought people like Bob Lazar in. That's why he was such an outsider, because we wanted to know if a very, very intelligent person from another foreign country, if they gained access to this, would be able to reverse engineer something that we had created. Because if so, then we're not going to take this thing into war, because if we accidentally have to abandon it, or it gets shot down or whatever, then that technology would now exist to the country that we are at war with. And that would be a massive problem now, wouldn't it? I think that that's also very, very likely. But if that's the case, regardless, that means that our black budget has now, and I know it's exceeded what we could even fathom it would be just 20, 30 years ago. We spend so much money on these secret projects, but is that enough? Is money just enough in order to redefine physics? And if so, then how has this not gotten out? If we can redefine the way that we interpret and think about physics and mathematics and propulsion and all of these things that just seem damn near impossible. Gravity, we don't even know what gravity is, but obviously whoever created that thing has a much better grasp and understanding of gravity than we do. And so that's the only options we really have when thinking about Bob Lazar's story. Or he's just a crackpot. But if he was a crackpot, why? Why would he do that? Was it just to pull something on the world and make them into nothing but an inside joke? Because he hasn't expressed it. It's been a long time. It was he gonna do, take it to the grave? Like, did he profit off it? No. He doesn't profit off of any of this. He's a pretty successful businessman. He owns his own science company that distributes products out to various labs. He's not in need of money. He's not rich, but he's not starving. And if he was, then it would be very easy for him to just take a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there to do speeches and do interviews and to put on this elaborate show, if it is a show, that he has put on since the 1980s. I don't think that's the case. That's what's so brain bending about this Bob Lazar thing, is that I don't see a correlation that connects him to any sort of reason that he would put this out and express this and reveal this, other than he actually witnessed it, he actually worked on it, and it actually occurred. And that's just my feeling about it. And I think that a lot of people have that feeling. It's easy to dismiss him, but I don't know. Maybe the United States has access to something that is far exceeding of our current understanding of modern day propulsion and physics as we know it. It would revolutionize the way we do science, almost to the extent that it would detriment our economy. I mean, imagine if every power source was free. He said that this thing didn't change. It didn't exert any sort of heat. And whenever you produce energy, it always has energy has to go somewhere. So that it would have to heat up to a certain extent. Just like when you use even your cell phone or something, it gets slightly hot. It's because it has to expend that energy in some fashion. And this thing was not doing it. It was running with perfect, unheard of proficiency. And if that's the case, then say goodbye to batteries, say goodbye to fuel, say goodbye to energy. You're not going to charge someone energy if it's abundant and it's free. Maybe it was because it would disrupt society. Maybe that's why it's locked away in the desert at S4. And who knows where it is now. They must have been able to replicate it because people have seen them. And people have seen these things, and government officials like Top Gun people, like Commander David Fravor, have seen these things while working on the Nimitz. They were out during testing. These people test their aircraft regularly just to make sure they can properly perform maneuvers and blah 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 blah. They were testing a brand new way of surveilling the things around them. In fact, when this occurred, they seen this thing just hanging out. These things are hanging out in the middle of the ocean, and they'll hang out there for like 2-3 weeks and they won't move, and then they'll just take off. And that's exactly what Bob Lazar said these things were capable of. And we don't have anything that we know of that's capable of doing that. It's impossible. It's just impossible. And so I don't know if Bob Lazar is telling the truth. I'm biased. I like to think he is, because people like to think that there's something greater than themselves. They like to think that there's some sort of alien in the sky, civilization or whatever, that will come down and save us. They'll be our daddy, in a way. They'll be humanity's daddy. The parents that protect them from playing with matches. And they say, give me those. Just like they allude to them having done to our nuclear testing facilities. They said they just disarmed them, like taking matches away from a child. Did they? I don't know. I don't know, guys. But I do know that although I try to think of every single option here, and I know that it's a long shot, but things are long shots, guys. If someone did work at S4 within Area 51 by Papoose Lake, and they ended up coming out, that's exactly how this whole thing would play out. It would happen just like it happened with Bob Lazar. I mean, how could he prove it? I don't know. It's not like he had a cell phone. And even if he did, I mean, he'd be a dead man if he took a photo of this. I don't know. I want to believe him. I want to believe him. But it's hard. And even if we did believe him, even if there was empirical evidence that would absolutely prove that what he was saying had validity, 100%, he was made to be 100% credible, what would happen? Would it change our lives in any way? I don't know. It's interesting. But those are just some of the questions that I have to ask, because he's now coming out. He's now actually doing more and more interviews and podcasts. I seen one just today that he did with someone that wasn't Joe Rogan. And it got me thinking, like, what is in it for this guy? Why is he doing this? I just don't know. And so if you guys think you know something, or my God, if your granddad or whoever worked with this man, put it down in the comments below. Let people know. Shout it from the rooftops, because I want to know, because life is boring, and this makes life slightly more fascinating. It does, because it brings excitement. It brings mystery. It brings kind of like a technological version of religiosity into our lives, because I don't know, it's just interesting. So let me know, and make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a nice day and a nice night. And remember that when it comes to Bob Lazar, fuck, that's probably the government outside of my door. They're on to us. No, just kidding. It's just a group of who knows what. It's what happens when you live in an apartment. But what I was saying is, when it comes to Bob Lazar, don't believe everything you hear, but be open-minded enough to be able to at least accept things when it is laid out for you. I'm not saying that you believe him. I'm not telling you to believe him, but just be weary of automatically dismissing him and putting him in a category of UFO nutcase deplorables, because I don't think that that's the case. I think that this is a very special anomaly, and even classifying him with other people like Travis Walton and the people that are like, these aliens are coming and I see them. These people are fucking delusional crackpots, and they're probably just, they just want their 10 seconds of fame. That's why their stories always get more and more complex, more and more elaborate. They're like, I didn't just see an alien 20 years ago. I seen one yesterday. They always have to dig themselves into a deeper conspiratorial hole in order to get their kicks off. Even if they don't even realize they're doing it because they're insane. Bob Lazar isn't this. He seems like a very normal person. I think that's what is so fascinating about it. He's normal. So, do you guys think he's telling the truth or what? Just let me know down below. Let me know for real. I'm going to take a poll, and I'm going to put myself in the maybe I don't know category. I want to know what you guys have to say. So, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Thank you, and have a nice day.